This September 18th meeting of the City of Gainesville Audit Committee. We do have a quorum present, and I imagine that we will hear from Mr. Monk at some point, and I hope everything is good with him. So, Madam Clerk.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have the adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, there's Mr. Monk.
All right.
Good
Right time
afternoon.
they put in.
We'll wait just a minute here. Welcome, sir. No, it's, I understand. So we have an agenda.
Yes, and now we're moving on to the approval of the minutes for the June 21st, 2023 Audit Committee meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the minutes. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously.
All right, Mr. Mayor, we're on to our first discussion item, 2023-899 Ironwood Golf Course Financial Controls Limited Review, with the recommendation the Audit Committee review, approve, and recommend the City Commission accept the City Auditor's report.
Madam Auditor.
Thank you.
Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Committee Member Monk. All right, so today is our Audit Committee for September 18th, 2023, and we do have 3 items on for the agenda for today. First up is the Ironwood Golf Course Financial Controls Limited Review. We did conduct a limited review of financial controls at Ironwood Golf Course. It was added to the audit plan in fiscal year 2023 after a management request by the Director of Parks, Rec, and Cultural Affairs. So the objective of the audit upon the request was to review the adequacy and effectiveness of select Ironwood Golf Course financial policies, procedures, operational processes, and internal controls. So we would like to thank the city's management, including staff from Parks and Rec, Ironwood, and the Department of Financial Services for their cooperation, their accessibility, professionalism. They were great. We will be presenting the public report today, and it is a confidential report, and it contains, there is a confidential report out there as well that will not be made public record because it contains IT audit information and is exempt from public record by Florida statute. Of course, if you'll, this next slide, please. I have that, I think. There we go. All right. So the scope of our review included governance, cash management, procurement to payment, and inventory activities for the scope of July 1, 2021 through February 28th of 2023. And we also had additional testing to make sure we get a chance to look at the financial controls over alcoholic beverage sales and purchase activity through May 31. We did not look at the green fees, golf lesson fees, and driving range fees. That was not part of the review, and we'll get into a little later. The manager may have something to talk about with the management review. It will be on the management review after we're done. Okay, Ironwood Golf Course is a division of Parks and Rec, as you know. Hosts multiple golf tournaments, junior programs, and have all this recreation and opportunity for citizens and for the community to participate in golf activities. There's a clubhouse that includes a retail area for golf merchandise called Pro Shop. They have a kitchen area with concessions with snacks and drinks. There's a contract with Pepsi Cola, and there's a banquet area for rental, for birthday parties, meetings, for whatever other community event that may be needed. And so Ironwood does have a system that they utilize as their point of sale system, and they process the sales for everything through that point of sale, through cash, check, credit and debit card, or gift card. All right. Ironwood operated as an enterprise fund for the city, but was moved into the city's general fund starting in fiscal year 2020. The revenues received at Ironwood consist of concessions, facility and grounds rentals, cart rentals, pro shop sales, golf lesson fees, green fees, and driving range fees. For fiscal year 22, the revenues totaled a little over $1 million, $1.1 million. In the first 3 quarters that were presented by the Department of Financial Services totaled $995,000 for the first 3 quarters ending in June. So expenses, as you would probably think, are of course the administrative and operational costs such as salaries, concessions, grounds maintenance, equipment, and utilities. Okay, this graph shows the breakdown of the revenues for fiscal year 22 for Ironwood. We do see that we have the green fees and driving range and lesson fees that take up the majority. They do contribute the majority of revenues for Ironwood. We do see concessions coming in at 21%, cart rentals 17%, and pro shop at 8%. Miscellaneous revenues includes rentals and any other revenues, which includes like checks received for certain things, like maybe there's a rebate or there's a revenue that comes for the residuals, what we receive, the proceeds for the ATM that's located there. All right. And if you look down at the bottom, you'll see how the breakout there, and it shows it in figures. This is a depiction of golf course revenues versus expenses for the last 3.5 fiscal years, looking at how revenues have increased and we have expenses also that have tracked. We do see that the gulf between the revenues and expenses have decreased some in fiscal year 23 year to date. A little bit more background about Ironwood. Ironwood staffing, there are 3 full-time people there, administrative and operational people, employees who work there. Temporary employees also, like the bartenders are temporary, and volunteers who assist with the golf course are typically out on the field assisting any of the customers. And we did limit our review to fiscal activities associated with concessions, pro shop, facility rentals, other income, and we also looked at IT application controls. All right, governance. During our review, we did note that management created an Ironwood Golf Course employee manual to guide operations, and additional departmental and financial procedures were in place, such as at PRCA and just other procedures that are throughout the city. However, with Ironwood being such a unique division, that's not something you typically see here at the city of Gainesville. The procedures were just not sufficient to guide Ironwood's operational activities, specific. And that's kind of the overarching message, I guess. All right, concessions. Concession including the food and beverages. Concession products are ordered on an as-needed basis. We know they use the point of sale system. Based on our review, the products were not recorded or tracked in inventory, and oversight and monitoring controls such as periodic analysis or purchase and sales activities were not in place. Okay, so we did see, like I said, we did see where there were some areas where management attempted to have some controls in place. We just found that they just were not sufficient for adequate control, oversight and control. Pro shop. Pro shop, if you've ever been in Ironwood, you walk in, it's to the right. It's an area where there are golf bags and tees and balls and all that. You can purchase all of that located there at the pro shop. They did institute a process for Pro Club to use it. They used the point of sale system to monitor the inventory. However, it was just entered into the sales module, so you couldn't like see when it was entered. You couldn't see the specifics. You could just see that, okay, at some point we had these many. Now we have you just couldn't see the flow of it, but you could see the attempt was there to actually inventory those items. And we did do an inventory count of certain items. We looked at some of the higher dollar items, and we looked at some of the lower dollar items. Based on our comparison, inventory was mostly accounted for. I think there were like a couple of gloves and a few other little items that could have been picked up, or either maybe with some of them they stated they were returned because they were damaged. It's just nothing was documented. So that's kind of the overarching message, is just having that documentation and oversight of when inventory is moving. Okay, so but the large dollar items, 95% or more of the items were accounted for. I think I missed one. Excuse me a second. If I can go back. There we go. Alcoholic beverages. If I can go back, if we can go back, if you have the slide packet, if you could go back to page 12, which is concessions, alcoholic beverages. We did decide to take a look at the alcoholic beverages, just how, since there was no system of internal control, no inventory system to adequately track it, we decided to look at it from a dollar value and conduct an analysis. We did find that management periodically monitors bar activity using bar patrol. At least they purchased it to do that. But there was no documentation to show that it's not like a consistent process where they go in every day. It's just kind of on as a eyeballing thing. And then it's a device used to determine if the appropriate amount of alcohol was served. Like it's like a pour. It monitors that. And also there was a physical log that management had in place to document when alcoholic beverage bottles were moved from the closet area and into the bar area. And we were able to see that, but just the reviews and the ability to review it and understand it, it wasn't relayed to us because there just wasn't a system like, I'm going to check this every week. It was more for the concessions area to say, okay, I saw this is out today. Let me check the bottle, that type of thing. Okay, so it wasn't like an overall, but there was something in place. Okay, so we're going to go back down to, all right, facility rentals and other income on page 15, and we're going to whiz through this. The background and finish that up. The Ironwood Clubhouse includes a special area for rentals, as we talked about, and tournaments also are held at the area. So we did find that rental schedules are recorded. There were journals maintained for when someone bought a check. It just wasn't consistent. You couldn't tell exactly what it was for when the other part was purchased, but there was an attempt to have an internal control system set up there to monitor that. Okay, so in order to verify rentals and the amount, we could not come to that conclusion with the data that we had and the tracking that was in place. Our results and conclusion: as a result of the review, we did identify a high-risk opportunity for improvement around the following issue, which is to enhance golf course procedures and oversight. We're going to go through those real quick. I don't think this likes me. Okay. All right, issue one, which is what we just talked about. We found an opportunity where procedures and oversight of golf course operations around sales performance, ordering, receiving, facility rentals, inventory, and the processing of checks for deposit need enhancement. Okay, so the opportunities for enhancement were identified in the areas that are listed there, and we'll go through those. Oversight and monitoring of alcoholic beverage product sales and purchase activity. So we conducted an analysis. We did see that, of course, inventory was not tracked. And then also even oversight and monitoring in relation to just analysis, periodic analysis was not. So we did speak with management. There was a poor cost strategy established to have a 20% poor cost. Poor cost is that the cost of the item should be the average cost of the alcoholic beverage should be 20% in relation to 80% should cover everything else, overhead, all of that. And then the rest, whatever that other portion would be our profit, okay? So that's the way that it's established. It is an industry standard, which of course you can establish however you would like to establish it, but that was the strategy that was communicated to us. But when we did the analysis, we noted that the average pour cost from October 2021 to May 2023 was more around 49%. That did not include the inventory analysis, so the inventory component of it, but considering that all things remain stagnant or cyclical, that's why we looked at such a long period to do the analysis, so we could get an overall view of it. So what that means is that either the pricing was off, and we did attempt additional analysis. We looked at a lot of individual ones trying to identify, but there needed to be an additional system of control there for documenting the list price and also for Of course, in any retail organization, you're probably going to have some shrinkage. It's just no way to tell anything from it because inventory isn't tracked. Okay. Okay, and this is just the analysis that we just talked about. It shows for fiscal year 2022, the poor cost was 51% average. And for fiscal year 2023, May year to date, 47%, which equaled the 49%. So if you look at that, you'll see that in the second, it's like the fourth column really, it says the expected sales based on management's cost strategy of 20% is what you would expect the sales to have been in that period. Okay. Okay, in continuing the issue, next is the recording and tracking product inventory. So we know that an effective inventory management program was not established to record, track, and monitor products for sale. A periodic analysis, like for concessions, if you have a Snicker bar, you may not necessarily want to track every time you purchase you want to look at maybe the boxes if you use an inventory management system. And then if not, it may be, okay, we purchased this much, we sold this much. We should be within a certain range. If not, we need to figure out what's happening. But there wasn't an analysis either to determine that and monitor the activity. Fiscal management. Internal controls around fiscal activities were not sufficient. We did look at a few of the purchasing card transactions, and we just identified the split transactions pertaining to 3 invoices, and that was for one vendor. The vendor just wasn't set up in contracting, hadn't gone through the process, through procurement, as So of course they used, so management decided to use a purchasing card and split it, which we know that we don't split transactions, but that's something that we're just all making sure that we're educating that that's not something that we do. And then city management removed the purchasing cards from several departments in March, including the golf course, so that risk is removed regarding purchasing cards. Facility and grounds rentals were not consistently documented. We just talked about that. Also took a look at 20 checks received that were documented in the point of sale system. And of those 20 checks, and just kind of traced it through, we noted that they were not submitted for deposit in a timely fashion. It went from, because I think I left a leeway of 15 days or something, or 10 days, and then so it went somewhere between 10 and 120. And so that does leave us susceptible. Fiscal management continued, that there's no established process for management to approve or review sales voids or refunds. It's just good to have a process for whenever something's returned, or if you're voided, that someone monitors that and they review it. Either they approve it or review it at the end. And duties were not adequately segregated. You can kind of see that sometimes when you have a smaller group of administrative folk. Team members, sometimes the duties aren't adequately segregated or separated because it's just not enough people to do it. Management did move forward, I think it was in November, and moved a fiscal person over to work, and that helped segregate a lot of those duties. So there was more, so that helped a lot. And so. I think it's gone. Okay, there we go. All right, so here, now we're down to our recommendations. Just briefly, we did recommend management analyze to determine if this pricing strategy is something that is desired for alcoholic beverages, and we also recommend that Department of Financial Services or other subject matter experts participate in analyzing the strategy and determining a strategy. We recommend that they establish an effective inventory management program for monitoring alcoholic beverage and product sales, other product sales, or have an analysis. Okay, as Ironwood, the golf course is a unique division, so the processes and needs are very different. The procedures should be enhanced and tailored to guide oversight and monitoring. Okay, And they should assess staffing resources and determine the required expertise and levels for cost-effective and efficient operations. And then the roles and responsibilities should also be in place. Management action plan. Management provided an action plan for the recommendations. The first one I would like to read, on June 14th, the city manager instituted a management watch for Ironwood Golf Course pending the results of the limited scope of review of the program, and talks about our objective, and also that management will work in conjunction with the city auditor's office to use the findings to review and inform additional steps as management moves forward from here, where you'll see the wider scope review. Ours was limited. All right, specifically, department management will work closely with Department of Financial Services to analyze the sales prices for alcoholic beverages sold at Ironwood, and the pricing strategy will be put in place. The department has implemented an Excel inventory process, so they've already started working on that, and working with the software developers, working with the software to begin tracking inventory. And ProShop inventory is currently being analyzed and will be included in the inventory process. So the department is also creating policies and procedures to adequately track and just get the controls implemented that are needed, and there will be periodic reviews. Okay. And this also, it just continues about how the department director or designee is evaluating, creating, or implementing customized policies and procedures to cover each segment of Ironwood operations, including facility rentals, pro shop, and concessions. All procedures will be appropriately filed in the department's software system, okay, and that applies to their national standards, accreditation standards, excuse me. And the department director is assessing adequate staffing needs. So they're going to evaluate the positions and the approach. Okay, I would like to thank management and thank you for your time. Anyone have any questions?
Members, any questions?
Yeah, actually I do.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you, staff, and thank you to our auditor who was able to go in and find some things that we certainly need to be looking at. I see the city manager with us today. I wonder if she and or Roxy might be able to step forward and give us just a little more insight. We do know that in terms of your management watch, you have begun that, and we're grateful for that, certainly. I wonder if you'd be willing to come forward and share a little bit more of that kind of granular detail, or kind of a 30,000 foot overview of what that management watch actually entails and where we are now with it.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, the management watch process has not started yet.
Okay.
We were actually waiting for this particular review to be completed, and then we would build on it. And so I've asked Cesar, who is here from the audit office. He also has a dotted line to my office. He's our internal control manager. And so he will head up the management watch process for the city. We will also rely on, of course, the auditor's office to assist us, and we will try to get some third-party input on that committee as well, so it's not all internal. Some experts in this field, so that we can have someone from at least the community, business community, who has some expertise in this to participate. But we have not started it yet. We purposely waited until this audit was complete so we could use the information from it to feed our process. What we would hope is that we would start our process early fall, which is around now. We'll start to build and be ready for those recommendations to come to the commission before we start the budget process for 25.
Okay.
So that's where we are. We haven't started.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome.
And I'd also like to ask Roxy Gonzalez, the director of the department, to come forward, because this particular audit was a request from management. And so, Ms. Gonzalez, if you could address that.
Welcome.
Hello, Mayor, Commissioners, committee members. Roxy Gonzalez, Parks and Recreation Cultural Affairs Director. So initially when I became director, now exactly a year and a half ago, one of There are some concerns that came up with processes. It just wasn't cohesive with what the department was doing, with what the city was doing. It was a lot of, it's just been done that way. So in doing so, coming into a couple glitches and a couple little hurdles that I kept running into, I decided to reach out to city manager's office and the audit team to be able to assist in finding these so that we can rectify and move in the right path. So that's how we started with the process, and even through the process and open communication, it started with Ms. Bixby initially, and then now with Brecca. As things were being found or things were just being questioned, I started finding different processes to kind of lead the path, so that when we do go into management watch and start going through this process, we're already ahead of the game and already starting the processes. And just kind of rectifying and making sure that the processes are meeting not just the city's policies and procedures and processes, but also the state's processes as well.
Thank you. And Roxy, while you're still there, so the creation of the employee manual, that was you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really could appreciate that, because like we know, the golf course is not like any other facility that we have in our portfolio. It's a golf course. It's not another park. And so I can really appreciate that thought process that brought us to that. Honestly, I'm a little surprised that we didn't have one, but I'm grateful for your way of thinking and making sure that we do have one now.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we've come across a lot of we've inherited this, right? So in inheriting something and then realizing how much we're spending versus how much we can possibly make with what we're spending is the roadblock. And then looking at the staffing is a huge hurdle, because it's 3 staff. It was initially 2, and I transferred one of our administrative assistants from admin to there to enhance and assure that our invoice processes are going to be up to date, because that's part of the audit as well, right? That we weren't up to date with certain invoices, we were delayed. So we transferred them over there to just focus on the invoices, the POs, and everything that happens financially with Ironwood, to assure that we're doing the process, at least in a timely manner, as we're rectifying the issues and concerns.
Thank you, Roxy.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith.
Thank you. So, Mr. Muck, anything on that? Okay.
Well, I had a couple of questions. I assume that a procedure has been put in place to assure timely deposit of checks. I mean, 100 days is a little too long.
Mr. Monk, I believe that management can answer.
Hi, yes, actually, that's where I kind of ended off. It's transferring over my administrative assistant, one of my staff assistants, over to Ironwood to specifically do that. So since that transfer, we've been to date with all of it. Because the issue prior, what I continue to hear is that since it's 2 staff, it was a manager and a concession supervisor that were the only 2 FTEs that were there. The golf course is open from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Yes.
Monday through Sunday. 2 staff. And then I have bartenders and court attendants.
Yeah.
And then a .75 that is also our pro who teaches and does trainings. That's it. So my manager's running around handling stuff all over the golf course. By the time the manager was able to get back to the desk, there's always a delay in those processes to be able to do that. So transferring that individual over where that's where they focus first thing in the day is deposits, invoices, processes, requisitions, everything that occurs, they manage it. So we should be to date now, but that's going to now roll over into a policy and procedure as to how to create those steps and how to do that, so that we have that booklet, so that if there is turnover at any point, the next person that comes in line knows what to do and when to do it.
Very good. And the coverage in this partial review is less than 50% of total revenue, or right at 50% of the total revenue. Do you have on the schedule to cover the other half?
Mr. Mayor, no, we have not been asked to look at that. And since management had decided, city manager's office had decided to move into management watch, we were going to wait and to see how they would need us to assist with those areas. But I know they're going to be conducting analysis, and as part of their response, their action plan, they said that they would be working with us on asking us to assist with some areas, but we did not expand our scope to look at the other areas. And I think one thing mainly about that is that they still all run through the same point of sale system, so it's still the same controls.
Well, the trend is good. It's, it's going up. The margins are getting tighter as far as your gross profit is being maintained and actually increasing in this, which is a good thing, and especially since we've lost almost all the golf courses in Gainesville, we don't want to lose another one. So it's trending well. So I'm pleased to see that.
Thank you.
Okay. So I appreciate the tremendous amount of effort that went into this. I know that over the many months, your office has spent a lot of time out at Ironwood, and I appreciate that. I appreciate staff ramping up opportunities to improve, and I very much look forward to the management review results and to having some opportunities to make some to arrive at some decision points. I feel like, and this is just gut instinct, that we ought to consider doing things a little differently from a management viewpoint when we get there. But I don't know exactly what our alternatives will be, and I know those are not part of the audit. I'm not talking about closing down the golf course. I want everybody to understand that. But it is, we don't run, the City of Gainesville does not run another bar. The City of Gainesville does not run another retail shop. And as long as we do things like that are not like the other things that we do, and as long as those other things are separated, about as far geographically separated as they could possibly be from most of the things that we do, there is risk there. There's a variety of different risks. And I think we probably end up, I think there are better ways to do it. Let me just say that. I think there are ways that probably get us to a better result in the long run. And other cities do things very differently with their municipal golf courses. I agree with you that while we see other courses closing, we ought to be able to really capitalize on being one of the few remaining courses in Alachua County. And I want us to be able to do that. I would like us to, I think that I would like us to continue to own. Welcome, Mr. Chestnut. I would like the City of Gainesville to continue to have a municipal course. But I think probably treating it the same way that we have treated it over the last many decades probably doesn't give us the best opportunity for success. So I'm glad that this exists. I'm glad that it's out there as the initial part of the conversation. And I very much look forward to Management Watch results coming back. Does anyone from the public want to weigh in on any of that? Okay. All right. Do we want to get a motion to approve this and recommend it to the commission?
So moved.
All right. We have a motion and seconds to follow staff recommendation. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you, staff, for that. And Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, 2023-900 City Auditor Quarterly Update with the recommendation that Audit Committee review, approve, and recommend the City Commission accept the City Auditor's report.
Madam Auditor.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, each quarter we put together a quarterly update to show the different work and just activities that occur in the City Auditor's office, and just the areas where we're looking, where management action plans are put in place, where the follow-up, how follow-up is looking. We also monitor and provide information for the City Commission and the Audit Committee in this report. So, if we'll go, I have it again, don't I? Okay. Our audit team is here, and they'll also be participating in presenting on today. Of course, we have the strategic plan included because that is the focus. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'd like to start off with the audit plan update. We're requesting that this audit is to be removed from the audit plan. It is the traffic-related surveillance, data security, and privacy controls audit. The gist of this audit was to identify the controls and assess the risk related with surveillance that may be occurring at like stop lights, things like that. This audit would include a collaboration with multiple entities, University of Florida, the state of Florida, all of that. So we see that one, the risk related there is lower. So we're asking that one be removed from the audit plan. Okay, recently completed projects. Ironwood Golf Course is our recently completed project. We have like 3 or 4 coming on our next audit committee, but this is the one that is complete for this review. Works in progress. Okay. I'm gonna ask Diana Satterthwaite, Internal Audit Manager, to come up, and she's gonna talk about our work in progress.
Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners, Committee Member Monk. So we are in the process of the police overtime billing and collections audit. Our objective for this audit is to review the adequacy and effectiveness of processes and controls for third-party billing and collections as it relates to police overtime. So this audit won't cover regular GPD overtime. We have completed planning and we're in the field work phase of the audit. We will complete the audit in October for presentation at the December 2023 committee meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Diana. All right, we have Lisa Sedzik, IT Audit Manager. She's going to talk about the citywide fleet management process audit that's underway.
Hi, good afternoon, Mayor Ward, Mayor Pro Tem, Committee Member Monk, Commissioners. My name is Lisa Sedzik. I'm the IT Audit Manager, and I'm here to present a couple of work in progresses that I'm working on. The first one, as you can see, is the citywide fleet management processes, which is currently in the field work phase. The objective is to review policies, procedures, and internal controls around the citywide fleet management procedures, including GRU and general government, to ensure efficiency of operations and to make sure that appropriate risk management is in place. Like I said, we are currently in the fieldwork phase. We expect to complete fieldwork in October, report due in October for presentation to you in December of this year. Any questions? Okay, thank you. The next work that I'm currently working on is the IT risk assessment. This is carried over from the last quarter. This is to identify the IT audit risk for, again, the city, including GRU and general government for our audit planning. We are expect to complete this and have something to you March of next year. And anything as a result of this particular IT risk assessment is exempt from public record. Thank you. And I'm going to call Peter Damaris up to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor Ward, Mayor Pro Tem, Committee Member Monk, Commissioner Chestnut. The continuous auditing program, we will be completing part 3 for Audit Committee in December. We completed part 1 and 2 earlier this year. As you remember, those were presented as micro reports, and this final report will be a much more conclusive report spanning all 3 parts. And I believe I said that, yeah, we will be presenting that hopefully at the December Audit Committee. Thank you. With that, I'll bring back up Lisa Sedzik.
Yes, we are.
Okay, my last slide. We're going to talk about periodic monitoring. Just so you know, I do have TC Kelly from Enterprise IT on the phone if anybody has any questions about this slide in particular. So the risk level for enterprise IT governance remains moderate. Enterprise IT is being provided to both the general government and the GRU side. The mobile device policy that we talked about last quarter has now become the mobile device acceptable use procedure. It has been reviewed, approved, and is currently pending publishing, so that should be finalized fairly soon. In addition is the cybersecurity awareness and training. There is a required mandatory training that will begin taking place, I believe, early next year for all employees citywide including general government and GRU. Our cybersecurity efforts are still in phase 2. Expected completion is February 2024. And there are various IT strategies this year, 2023, that IT Enterprise continues to work on. Are there any questions about this slide? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, team. The next area for periodic monitoring, the auditor's office is periodically monitoring general government financial reporting over internal controls. So we know the risk level on that was high. We also know that this is a result of the Auditor General's report, but also mainly our ICFR is what we call it, Internal Control over Financial Reporting audit report, and we're just monitoring the implementation, management's implementation, and bringing things, the controls, enhancing the controls. It includes month, quarter, annual financial close processes, cash and key balance sheet, account reconciliations, and timely research of variances, grant management, and readiness for GASB updates. And we know we have some that's already come online for that. So that's not due until the end of December. So we'll be coming back and meeting with management early next year, January. Culture Corner. So if you remember, in May of 2021, the City Auditor's Office worked with management to come up with the culture, to conduct the culture assessments, and there was a report that came from there. There were 5 recommendations resulting, and so number 1 and number 4, management has successfully implemented and closed. Wonderful for that. Number 2 and number 5 are HR related. And they are underway. I believe the employee suggestions number 5, it says in progress, but since then, that has gone out. So if you've looked in your emails, especially staff, you will see where management has put out the new survey. The HR survey was launched. And then the policy management framework is like a year long, 18-month long. So of course that one has not been implemented yet. And leadership training, I think you probably saw the emails regarding emerging leaders. And so that's underway as well. Feel free to stop me with any questions. Audit issue follow-up. All right, so this is a really important part of what we do is conducting audit issue follow-up. This is where we meet with management, we request evidence so we can validate that an action plan has been successfully implemented. All right, and so we don't go over a year typically in those dates, and management has been working diligently to get those implemented. I actually had updates today and late last week of management providing evidence of implementation. So this is just it shows which ones have been closed. We have 3 that were closed since the last quarterly update, which was in June. And we have 13 that are open, not the same 13, just happens to work that way because we had some that were opened. And so it just kind of keeps toggling that way. And then it also shows that we have 3 that are partially implemented. Sometime when you have the combined issues, it's like a part of it is completed, implemented, and the other part is not yet. And then there's one that is a validation in progress. That means that we've received the information, but I need to get a chance to look at it and validate it. All right. Closed audit issues. So compliance audit report, that's the Collier's report. We've been working with management on that to assess the level of risk on that. And so we determined that the risk level has really been lowered for that one because management has decided not to bring in a third party at this time for contract services, real estate services, thank you. Real estate services, I know that there was an RFP that went out there. We didn't have any consultants, so management decided not to move back out. It's just been rolled in with all of the other billing and collections processes. So we're just going to continue to track that risk, which is just the successful billing and collection of what's due to us for rental properties. Citywide gift card. So I closed that one, is my point. We close it and we're just going to track it as we go back and look at billing and collections overall because now it's rolled into the regular process. All right. Citywide gift card, management successfully closed, and this is going to be citywide, so that's general government and GRU. They implemented gift card administrative procedures in June 2023. Okay? And it removes the procedures that are in place, ensures like monitoring reconciliation, who can actually purchase gift cards. Definitely has been changed, and you can't distribute gift cards to employees. All right, so remove that risk as well. All right, continuous auditing program, part 1. All right, so we know that was a 2-part that included general government and GRU. All right, for general government, so management did review P card usage. They discontinued declining balance cards, reduced the number of P card users. They implemented a revised P card procedure in May, and the procedure covers monitoring, and management is developing an annual refresher training for all cardholders. Okay, and then and we know that management also decreased the number of cards. GRU, management reviewed cardholder limits, lowered the limits of some cardholders, and reduced the number of P card users, active users. And management also implemented a revised P card procedure in June of this year, and the procedure covers monitoring. Management evaluated the need for refresher training and determined that it's not required, but is suggested across all departments. So they're recommending leadership at GRU to take it, but it's not required, and the cardholders can access the training on GRU's intranet. All right, so those are our 3 audit issues that were closed. Open audit issues are depicted here. We did have one change. It's with GCRA. It's not, I don't have it broken out onto a slide, but GCRA, there was, we extended the due date from September of 2023 to April of 2024 for audit issues 1 and 2. Those are related to project and fiscal management and policies and procedures. So where GCRA is right now is that they have the procedures were almost done. Last I talked, they're anticipating them being done end of September. But the way we also come in and look at whether or not they are doing it. So there's no way for us to do that within that little time period. So the date has been extended, so that's going to include training, that's going to include procedures on how to do project management. They're getting project management training, and they have new ways that they actually track the projects, all of that. So that is something that we will end up going back and looking at after April of next year. Okay? They're kind of hand in hand, 1 and 2. All right. Any questions on that? All right. I think that's the only one we had. Oh, we also had an extension for cybersecurity audit. That's the reason that one was extended. We can't really go into it because it's a confidential, but of course we are just kind of waiting to see how things turn out as well. So some of the collaboration efforts, the conversations just haven't happened yet. So that one is just being requested to extend to March of next year. Thank you. There is no June 31. It's June 30. Thank you. You are so correct.
Let me interrupt you for just a second for Commissioner Declamar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I am wondering with regards to the GCRA project and fiscal management audit, if we can see what the markers are. I'd be interested to see what is exactly what we're measuring. They do a number of different projects. And I'm curious because some of them are, what you would imagine. Some of them are the more construction centered things, but then they have one that's been on the books for a while and one that I'm extremely concerned about in the Heritage Trail that they always hear me talking about. And I'm curious if there is anything that you can share with us, and if not today, I totally get it. If you can send to us how you are measuring what is happening with that. It is a different type of project, one that I think differs from any other project that they've ever done. And so the markers to measure that I imagine would be a little different from everything else.
Okay.
Can you possibly send that to us?
Mr. Mayor, so what we usually do with our follow-up is that we come back at the end and we look. So we don't really look in progress usually. We don't really look in progress. Typically, part of what the marker is, what we're looking at with project and fiscal management is to see what dates they were planned to be done and then how the milestones are set, all of that, the scheduling. And we also look to see, to follow the Project Management Institute guidelines as well. So that's what we would typically do. That's what we looked at the first place to see how we're tracking. And you probably remember the first report that we kind of talked about the length of time with some of them, and just having a more structured is what we were going to go back and look at.
Okay.
So we didn't have, and of course we would have looked at the ones that have been taking a while. That's something we would look at
Right.
at the end. Yes.
Okay.
But if there's something that you would like for us to,
And maybe it's as simple as a conversation with GCRA. So that is, that's something that I'll just look forward to doing. We'll just have a little meeting and see where we are. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome. So we have that item on our agenda this Thursday,
Good.
full commission.
Okay.
So, go ahead.
all right. Okay. I'll go ahead and continue. Still our open audit issues. Audit issues partially implemented. We have these three here, which are affirmative action plan. They're not due until December. So these are just the ones, we know that the extensions were earlier. We just kind of track the history on it. So it's affirmative action plan audit. There's audit issue number 2, citywide succession planning audit. Issue number 1, which we've received information and documentation for these 3. And then the general government internal control over financial reporting, we've received part of the information. So that's why we can say that they're partially implemented and they're on their way. Okay. Audit issues with validation and progress is the GCRA, but that's for number 3. So that's a different issue. It's about managing and monitoring conflicts of interest. So they did provide that information to me. So we'll take a look at it. Any questions on any of that? Good, okay. Fraud hotline and investigations. This just shows the number of investigations. Our office conducts investigations. Thank you. Conducts investigations, HR conducts investigations, Office of Equity and Inclusion as well. So all of these represent any that come through our hotline. Okay, any that come through our hotline, or even if someone comes through our front door. If it's not our lane, we don't get out of our lane. So we included in the numbers here to show that which ones are open, closed, and so on and so forth. So this is where we are now. We do have to. Okay, external audits. And we're almost done. If this will work for me today. Okay. Florida Auditor General Operational Audit. We are familiar with that. All of us are. Which was published in January of 2022. The 18 findings. I just showed you the 18 findings. Previously, the commission had asked that we come back and bring a report of the status of management's implementation for those. But since the Florida Auditor General Office is currently conducting a follow-up audit of those findings, we decided this would be redundant and that did get an opportunity, get approval to go ahead and just mention that. The Auditor's General Report is going to be released this fall. Okay. Financial statements audits, we're kind of in that little time period where there's no activity, but I know they're going to be ramping up soon. This is the Baker Tilly audit for GRU. It was completed, of course. And then general government, GRU had no findings, no weaknesses. GG, of course, we know about the findings here, which are down from the 4. And that was for fiscal year 22. 23, I believe, is ramping up in the next few weeks for both. All right. This is just wrap up. Okay, here are our upcoming committee meetings. On December 5th, we do have ethics training. We will be providing ethics training for city commissioners, charter officers, directors, and board members. And that will be held here. And then on December 6th, we have our last audit committee meeting of the calendar year. And then also in next year, we're working on that schedule with the clerk's office right now. That's it. Any questions, comments? That's our contact information if you want to reach us.
Very good. All right, any questions, comments? Okay. Anyone from the public? Okay, Commissioner Chestnut, anything? Okay, all right. Can I get a motion to approve and recommend this to the commission?
So moved.
All right, and I'll second, obviously. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, 2023-902 Purvis Gray and Company LLP contract extension for professional auditing services for general government annual financial statement audits. With the recommendation that the Audit Committee review, approve, and recommend the City Commission approve a one-year extension to the Purvis Gray contract for external audit services.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Audit Committee. Okay, so it's pretty much what it says. Management is requesting an extension on the contract initially as the administrator for the external audit contract. Our office, of course, oversees that contract. So we work with management who is requesting an extension of 1 year. Typically, it's very difficult to switch external auditors anyway, but when you're rebuilding, it really can cause some challenges because FTE would need to be designated just to work with them and then still it takes years to get acclimated. So they are requesting, I'm requesting on their behalf an extension of 1 year for the Purvis Gray audit. And that's it. And then we'll go out for RFP next year.
Okay.
And that's for fiscal year 2024's audit, which they would start next year.
Any questions on that?
No.
Okay. Commissioner Chestnut, any questions? Anyone from the public? No. All right, can we get a motion on that? Okay, all right, thank you. I second that, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that is unanimous, and Madam Clerk?
We are at member comment.
Okay. Mr. Bonner? All right, nothing from me either. Commissioner Chestnut? All righty. Well, thank you all. The next meeting of this audit committee will be December 6th, and we will see some or all of you then. All right, thanks. We are adjourned.